Okay, hello. Just a 2-minute video. I thought this was worth just sticking in a video. What does it exactly mean? I'm not 100% sure, but it is just fascinating, right? And what it is, from the beginning of the United States of America, we've had a bunch of Charlie Kirk references back to the idea of the beginning of the United States of America, through to Charlie Kirk's Turning Point organization, and we were talking about the idea of Turning Point being kind of a reference to cycles and balance. Okay, now what is fascinating is the number we get is to do with it is actually to do with cycles and balance. Okay, and I'm just going to talk through it rather than showing you a whole bunch of pictures and explain, a whole bunch of numbers. But what we have here is numbers to do with the golden ratio. 168 is to do with the golden ratio, right? We're going to go over to it in a second, and we'll just look at it very quickly. But the idea of this is a balanced number in the terms of its palindromic. Yeah, it's a mirror reflection number, if you like. If you put a line through the one here, you've got a reflective number which is balanced. Okay, and we've got a number that also refers back to the golden ratio. And when we're dealing with cycles, just like Turning Point, the idea of a cycle, that's a way in nature of bringing back balance. Okay, and so this idea of a reset is what's interesting at the minute with the whole thing, yeah, with Turning Point. But in those cycles, okay, when we look in mathematics, okay, and we look at numbers to do with the golden ratio, what springs to mind is what we looked at on this channel quite a lot of the time is we look at the Fibonacci sequence, we look at the Lucas sequence, and what I call the pi sequence, which is different from the transcendental number pi. Okay, so we look at those three sequences, and then embedded within those three sequences are three separate 24-digit cycles. Okay, so what's important about those sequences, though, at the same time as there's a cycle within those sequences, what is important is those sequences themselves encode the golden ratio. Okay, so without giving a whole massive lecture about how that all works, I am just going to show you something just connected back to this set of numbers here. It's not the exact same number, but it's got the same idea about it. Okay, so we have an 86168 palindromic number, which is to do with the golden ratio, this 168. Yeah, so if I go to phi, which is the numbers for the golden ratio, or is the golden ratio, however you want to look at it, what you'll see is that here at the start of it, 1618, those same numbers are right at the start of the golden ratio. Okay, at the beginning of phi here. Now what I've done is, because this is a transcendental number that goes on forever, right, I just took the first 24 digits, something that we can digest. And why did I take the first 24 digits? Is because all of our other cycles are in 24-digit cycles. Okay, so when we take the first 24 digits of this number, okay, and we pretend like this is just the cycle right here, that makes this the beginning, obviously, and then this becomes the end. And because it's a cycle, it's continuous. Yeah, it gets to this number 8 down here and starts back over straight away. Yeah, so if we were to pull this 8 back to where we could read it a little bit easier, just before the start, this is the end, that's just before the start here, what you can now see is that we have an actual palindromic number essentially at the end and beginning of this sort of hypothetical cycle here with phi. Yeah, and it is 81618. Okay, so it isn't the exact same number as what we were just seeing here, right? But it's very similar in its idea. Okay, I wanted to put that in a video. We've had a lot of references to gold, the golden age, and it is just absolutely super fascinating that that is, you know, that date is just to me, I don't know, that means quite a lot, really. And obviously, as a channel that deals with the idea of the Hoover Dam, the idea of coming out of the Matrix, right? So the idea of the Hoover Dam coming down as a reference to that, the idea of Madonna passing away would be a reference to that as well. Okay, all ideas to do with becoming free again, the system resetting again. Okay, you know, these are numbers to do, you know, Madonna's birthday, the 16th of August. You got James Cameron, you've got Elvis dying on that particular day, you know, etc., etc. So it's a super important set of numbers anyway. It's just absolutely crazy, you know, that there happens to be in the first 24 digits and essentially what would be the beginning and end, okay, with phi here, an 81618 palindromic number, and then when we go back over to here through to this turning point, the idea of cycles and balance and the idea of beginning, yeah, just absolutely crazy, really. I just want to leave it there, okay? Like I said, I deal with Madonna and the Hoover Dam, and we've got a couple of dates coming up. We've got the 22nd of October for Madonna, that's a date of interest, and we've got the 10th of November into the 11th for the Hoover Dam, which is a date of interest this year. So anyway, we'll see, won't we, if anything happens or not. But yeah, that is just mental to me. That is just absolutely crazy. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. I've got another good video coming up right after this one. All right, thanks, bye.